Agree on that one, and explaining the situation of the context. Here we have Kenshiro stating that Rao's fists surpassed his, meaning that Rao was stronger than him. And here we have Kenshiro stating that in order to save Century's End, Rao decided to let himself be beaten by Kenshiro.
Cool.
So those statements are not anti-feats to Kenshiro beating Rao, because Kenshiro is deliberately stating that not only was Rao stronger than him, which isn't an anti-feat, again, they'd be comparable regardless, but he's also stating that Rao let himself lose.
Okay, so
that's not like an example.
So actually, this gets into the second debate, which I guess is a whole different.
So the first part is focusing on the first part is focusing on Rao here, and my statements on Rao.
Mm-hmm.
This is not an anti-feat or like something that not anti-feat. This is not a hard like counter example like in the first bad example you gave, because Kenshiro beating Rao is not like put into question, or it's not seeming ridiculous with this statement. All Kenshiro is stating is that, and unfortunately Fist of the North Star, as I'm sure you're aware, is very prone to retcons, which is unfortunate. But this is just Kenshiro providing context that even though he beat Rao, it wasn't because he was stronger than Rao, it's because Rao chose to let himself be beaten to save Century's End. And there is a scan in between here that I can provide as well, if you guys would like.
So again, this is just, all this proves is just this, it's just a statement. This is exactly what my analogy was.
This is the man who directly fought Rao, is the greatest martial artist in the series.
It's
not irrelevant.
That is irrelevant. Yes.
No. See, notice how you notice. It is not irrelevant, because notice how you brought up Lin.
My analogy is specifically the feat versus the statement. You keep trying to add
however, the feat is not being unproven by the statement, and it's just adding context. It's not irrelevant.
That is irrelevant. That is
no.
My analogy
again, no, you're right. Your analogy was Bat is clearly shown to be inferior to Kenshiro, and then a non-fighter character states that Kenshiro is superior.
Actually, this gets into the second debate, so I'm not going to argue that yet. But that's second.
Yeah, debate. Here we have the man who directly fought Rao, the man who would have the most accurate source of information.
I know, right? Yeah.
Also stating that Rao let himself be beaten.
Oh my gosh, bro. Super crazy. Okay, so are you done yet?
I'm not quite sure why you're...
I've already proven that I've won. Oh,
you all want to conclude this point then?
I guess. I feel like I've won this, so.
Alright, Zimatorn, you go first.
Okay.
Wait.
I'll mute.
Wait.
It's conclusion. I'll mute for you.
Oh, okay. Well, the conclusion here is, even based off his two examples, again, let's go over them very briefly. The ball being kicked is a fact, so he's using the feet there, and then the statement he uses doesn't correlate with this one. Right off the bat, yes, Kenshiro does beat Rao in a hard-fought battle. That is true. However, in his example, which he agreed to when I provided the example for him to work off of, Bat loses to Souther completely in every single way, shape, and form. Kenshiro does not and surpasses Souther, and then Lin tells Bat, "You're stronger than Kenshiro." That is a hard counter. That is like a hard counterfeit to her statement that will not be taken seriously. In this context, Kenshiro is not stating anything that would be countered by a statement. All he's providing is context that Rao let him win, and that Rao was stronger than him. However, that's not contradicted in the slightest by anything shown, and okay, so I know we're doing conclusions now, but can I bring up the mobile game statement and why the mobile game statement would be valid here for his description, or is that too late at this point?
Too late at this point.
Too late at this point? All right. Well, yeah. I guess that'd be my my concluding point there.
All right, so my conclusion's simple. Ask them two simple questions about how, we suppose or presuppose, feats and showings in this. And then with this, you just replace and substitute what this is. The Kenshiro statement here is just, if we're looking at the statement, and even with the context, Kenshiro gets stronger. We'll all argue this in the second debate. Kenshiro gets stronger from here. And so the statement here is just the statement, and that's the only thing you can argue. And he never really showed how Kenshiro doesn't get stronger for his supposition to work. And like I said, well, this conclusions, but and then for this is also he also agreed that my argument would be higher just due to the fact that feats are above statements like he showed, so no matter what, it would be a W on my part. So that's my conclusion.
All right. So
I'll be
while
muted, by the way.
yeah. Okay. So let's see. While while this situation isn't exactly like one to one with the example that Voro gave, still there still isn't any like reason or justification as to why Kenshiro all of a sudden decided that Raul was stronger than him despite him being able to beat him before. They both agreed that the battle was hard fought and it supposedly just came out of nowhere that he decided that Raul was stronger all of a sudden. So if you had give like some kind of context or reason why he, let's see how I say this, some indication, if there was like some indication in the fight that Raul was holding back and you presented that, then I could have gave it to you, but because that wasn't presented, I would give that point to Voro.
All right.
Oh, and let me say this: any like judge contentions, whatever, can be held for after debate, after the debate.
All right. So second part would be whether or not the character, like how the series scales. Then.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do you want to take your stance on that one?
Okay, so I don't remember where you claimed this in the video. I looked for it. I kind of just skimmed. Honestly, through both of, I guess, my watchings of your video, I just really skimmed through it. I didn't really watch the whole thing. But somewhere in the first skim, you had said that characters are relative and that
Yes.
they're not, it's just, you use the word DB's, like, DB amp, which I don't know what you mean. Wait, okay, like, first, can you clarify what that means?
Okay, yeah, that one's easy. So, for example, let's use like Dragon Ball Z as the best example. Vegeta shows up. Vegeta's the big bad, very powerful character. Then Frieza shows up, vastly stronger. Then Cell, vastly stronger. Then Majin Buu, vastly stronger. So when I say DB scaling going forward, what I mean by that is that not every character going forward is massively stronger than potential characters we see in the past.
Define vastly stronger.
Strong enough to the point where they wouldn't be able to fight.
Okay, so let's say, okay, so let's just go under this for a bit. Okay, so I think, okay, but you do agree that characters do get stronger throughout the series, right?
I agree there are set points where character strengths do occur, yes.
Okay. So, this is Crazy Man 2.0, that's all. Okay.
Well, no, like
this is great.
you can't really argue the strength increase is enough to justify them being massively stronger. Because I can be stronger if I lift out, but I'm not going to be like in a day, let's say, or like in a week of working out. I'm not going to be infinitely stronger or something than I was before.
No, so I'm not arguing for infinitely stronger or anything like that.
I know, but like the
But
point is like the massive leap is not like necessarily necessary to be staying stronger.
okay, I don't know how. Okay, I guess for this, I'm just gonna go under the axiom of substantial increase. Okay, because I don't know how the heck you define this. Let's define it. Like, I assume you've seen Dragon Ball. Do you know how the Zenkai? Do you know the Zenkai calc, the infamous Zenkai calc?
I do not know the infamous Zenkai calc. No,
So in Dragon Ball, Saiyans get Zenkais and people get stronger, blah blah blah.
I do know that.
It's
Yeah.
it's calced at 1.9 through 10 times, right?
All right.
And this is used throughout every series, or it can potentially be used throughout every series to see who's gets stronger. So using this as like a way to define what you mean by massively, vastly, etc. Do
All
you
right.
agree that they get at like, characters like, for example, we see Kenshiro lose to Shin in the first time, showing that
Yes.
he's much stronger than Kenshiro because he puts up very little effort. But then, Kenshiro comes back and beats him. Would you agree there is at least, between those points, it goes Ken at the beginning, he's like 2 through 10 times weaker. Then it goes Shin, then Kenshiro comes back. He's like 2 through 10 times stronger.
Yeah. There are set points in the story where characters get stronger. Yeah.
Okay, so we are in agreement that characters get stronger. Okay, so I guess what I need to ask now is where is. Okay, what makes you think they're relative? Because that was something that you had claimed.
Okay. So I guess let me provide the evidence here a little bit. So the first major thing that like makes them seem relative to each other is, well, outside of the things like the guidebook, would be Sachi's statements during the Han fight.
Would be the
So,
Han fight? Wait, what do you mean by this?
well, so during the fight itself, Sachi is a witness to both Han and Kenshiro's fight. He's not that impressed. He is obviously trying to beat Han, but he's not making too much big of a deal about it. He's obviously being chill about it. The second he hears about Rao being beat by Kenshiro and is shocked about like Rao's fate, he freaks out to the point where it's very clear that he thinks Rao was stronger than characters like Han.
Well,
And this
let's.
would be a Rao before the events of, well, the series, since he wouldn't have been Mamiya's village yet.
Wait, so are you just arguing for. Wait, Rao. Wait, why? You're just arguing that Rao was above Han? That's all you're arguing here for?
Well, you're asking for with the characters being relative. So Rao's placement is kind of crucial at this point because again, if Rao still and Rao is considered the bar of the series, it's the bar they measure Falco against, and it's the bar that almost all the generals of Ozra talk about, including Juki as well. I mean, so that's why I asked, like, if statements aren't like valid to you, like, because there's no
Okay.
direct feats against it,
So.
like except for fighting Kenshiro. But again, I've
I'm
already provided the
like.
context.
I'm just mind blown at like. I don't even know where to
Well,
argue
it's
for.
like
Okay. So
you're
let's.
ignoring evidence.
No, no, no,
Like
no,
you're
no, no.
ignoring the
I'm not.
statement.
I'm not
Well,
claiming like. I don't. I'm
I
not
mean, the
making any
fact that
claim on what you're saying yet. Okay.
the fact
So.
that you're laughing kind of makes it clear your
So
stance on the
can
situation.
okay. So let's
That's
let's
why I'm
argue from
asking
here.
you, like,
Let's just go over. I guess like since this is super contentious, more Raoul scales, or at least for you, not for me, where he goes in part two. So let's go over it. Do you believe in the Raoul prophecy?
the Raw prophecy.
Yes. Let's just go over this real quick. Just so
Yeah.
that way. Oh, you do?
Yeah, that
Okay.
works.
So let's just grab the statement. Let's see. I think it's in volume 15. Wait, no. This is
Also, while I'm at it, can I
volume-
point out that the
volume.
official guidebook for Fist of the North Star does scale all the characters relative to each other?
Yeah, we'll go over that here in a bit too, buddy. Don't worry. Don't worry. No, this is post-it, so it is in volume 15. Alright, volume 15 should be towards the end. Alright, let's look for it. Aha, there we go. So it's page 125.
I'm assuming you're going to bring up the fact that Kaio created the Legend of Rao.
Exactly, right? Isn't that, he directly states he made up, like, it's not a thing. He's the one who made it up. Therefore,
Yes,
not to
very,
mention,
very small.
it gets,
Go on.
it directly gets contradicted by feats as well. It's kind of crazy, right? So, you have
Well,
Kaio
here's
in his
uh-huh.
base, and Kaio can just he could just beat around Muso Tensei Kenshiro, post Han fight, post Falco, Solia, the Coliseum. So
That
even if
has
you
nothing
think
to do with AP though.
no,
That's
so
because of the
what?
nature of the Demon Aura and the Anre Tenha ability.
Okay, oh yeah,
That's a technique counter.
Wait, what? Okay. So what I'm saying though is so that me bringing up the previous fights is just because in case you want to say Kenshiro got rusty, right? It does at this point it wouldn't even matter because he's just fought enough people to where I wouldn't even say it's rusty, and he's fighting people who are stronger than Falco, but at least in base, he's at least surpassed his base by fighting Han, but with Kaio who just beats around this Kenshiro, even, point blank with just his fist, and can react
Yes.
to Muso Tensei. There's no, right, he can beat, a stronger Muso Tensei than when he fought Kenshiro.
So that's not entirely accurate. He can't react to Musou Tensei. Kenshiro just floats around to like. And now I think we can agree that Kenshiro, and even for Blue Sky too, he kind of has this problem where he doesn't just end fights right away. I'm not saying he would have been able to beat Kyle using Musou Tensei's attack, but he kind of just like stands around, and then Kyle's like, "Oh, you're using Musou Tensei. Now let me show you my technique."
Okay, but I don't
Also,
see the relevance of it, but I mean, like,
okay, well, I can
I don't
explain the
really,
relevancy in a
I don't
moment.
really think that wanting to end the fight immediately is like a huge point here, but right, so right because so Kaio who's beating this Kenshiro who had just beaten Rao however many years ago,
Yes.
it's just like right there there's a difference, right? And then Kaio's not even using his full power demon form. He's not even utilizing his Matoki
Yeah,
or
well, actually,
anything
that
like
is
that
that is actually wrong. He directly confirms he uses it on Kenshiro in the fight itself. Here, let me provide that scan real quickly.
in the first fight.
Yeah,
All right.
hang on.
Also, send me the chapter number, please, if you're able to, just so I can verify it.
Okay, so let me get the chapter number for you. Where is it? So here's the scan in question.
Be chapter volume 14.
Here's the scan in question, and right there.
Oh, this is the old version. All right, we'll see what it says though. When it comes to manipulating phone key, seem to realize your evil absorbs. Wait, how does this show? He's using his demon form. It
Well,
just
hang
shows
on.
he's using demonic energy.
Yeah, that's the Motoki aura.
All right,
So
no.
okay,
I'm talking about when he enters his demon form and like
well,
Hyo,
the
for
Motoki.
example, he reaches he whips out his Matoki when he's in like his peak demon form, right?
So the Motoki aura is just what their fighting aura is once they become a demon. Kyle's aura at all times is the Motoki aura because he's become a full demon. That's why his shadow is warped into a demon creature.
Yeah, it's kind of right. Yeah, it's like I explained
Yeah,
this in
so
the video. It's like the god form, yes. What I'm
yeah, but
arguing is for
that's
the
on
form
all.
itself, not like
No.
the
This
base
is
power of it.
it's not a transformation. Kaio at all times has the demon aura active. That's what the armor contains it. Which hang on, I think I have that scan as
And
well.
yet, like he has to like power up into it, like in like the second
No,
fight.
no. Okay. So you bring up Dragon Ball. You know how there's like regular key and God key. If you go by
There's
super.
more key than that. Like there's
Well, okay,
it's like
like using
chakra.
super is
There's
a,
way more chakra than just regular
okay. Well, like
chakra.
using Goku and Super for example, there is normal key and then they learned God key. Like so,
Okay.
like similar. Like it's still key, but there's different attributes. Kaio doesn't have a standard Toki aura. He has the Mud Toki aura because he's become a full demon. Now, hang on. Let me see if I have the statement about his armor containing his power right here.
Oh yeah, I already know about that. You don't have to post it if you don't want. But
Okay.
um,
So then,
I'm.
okay. So then,
This
going
is
back.
the fight.
So again, so the reason Kenshiro loses the first fight is not because of a massive AP difference. Although, again, if you want to argue
Wait,
that, like,
AP did. Wait.
okay. So, what do you want to call it? Like strength? What word do you want to put
Oh,
on it?
okay. I thought you were arguing that one
No,
character can blow up a nuke and the other one something
no,
like that. Okay.
no.
Um,
But like, so the
no, you
reason
could just say
Kenshiro loses this,
strength difference. That's
the
fine.
reason, yeah. So the reason Kenshiro loses this fight is because the Motoki aura fucks with his fighting key, and also we have a further statement from a like more knowledgeable Kenshiro who's already dealt with Hokuto Ryukin. Let me see the statement here real quickly.
Uh,
Hang on.
oh, I guess the anime displays this better. Are you against the anime?
Here we go.
Me showing you the anime or?
So here we go. So this is Kenshiro explaining how
Oh,
Hokuto Ryukin consists of destroying the enemy's passive techniques by blinding them with ki. Now, you did mention the old one. I'm assuming because like I've heard the ultimate translation is out there somewhere, but I can't find it anywhere.
Well, I have the ult. So what
So wait, so
what
is the
chapter
ultimate
is
translate?
this? That's the
Here, let me pull it up.
because
Uh,
if this is the
well, so
Viz one, this is
where do you
on
have
here.
the ultimate description? Where do you have the ultimate like edition of fully translated? Because they haven't released it, and I don't think it's on
I
Viz
own
Media.
it. I own it.
Well, no, but like, wait, so but it hasn't been released in English.
No, yeah, I have a private copy, but
You have a
anyways,
private copy of a
yes,
book that's not even able to be
yes,
pre-ordered.
yes.
Oh,
it's not that mind-boggling. Anyways,
dude, they're barely on volume. They're not even on volume 4 yet.
no, okay, they've barely released Volume 4. Anyways, the point here though is what chapter is this?
Hang on, I'm trying to find it right now.
Excuse me.
This
Can I say a thing in
oh
regards to the translation thing you're talking about?
yeah, I
All
can
Just
right.
to
mute you.
clarify, you're talking about two different translations. So Zimatorn is talking about the V's translation, the latest one,
Hmm.
and Voro is talking about the ultimate translation that has been released like a few years back. So and it's available online. I downloaded it
It,
illegally, but
it,
it's
it,
probably out
wait,
there somewhere.
wait. So it is available online, but they haven't released like because it's not even on Viz's website, and they're releasing the Ultimate Edition. That's why I'm like so confused
It's
here.
different. It's two different things. The V's one is a re-release and it has different translations.
Oh,
There
okay.
are some changed things.
Hang on. Just before this one.
And this is okay. I was about
It's
to ask if
chapter
this is
184. I believe it's chapter 184.
chapter 184. Let's go look at it. 216. Alright, what is this? 189, so it's volume 14.
If it's not 184, it'll be 185, but it's one of those chapters
What
where
is
he talks about it.
184.
Yeah, 185 is the correct one. It's 185. That's where he's had the line.
Okay. We'll look for it. 180, we'll skip past all of this.
Well, if you have the Ultimate Edition, very briefly then, is the line the same for the Kenshiro scan I posted above, or is it different anyway?
Let me check a second.
Alright.
184, perfect. Alright, so now I have to find the scan you used. Or you said it was 185.
Yeah, it's 185 according to this website I'm using. It is
185.
it is
You-
page 15.
Pitiful Juke is the chapter?
Yeah, Pitiful Juki. Or Juke. Also, I guess while I'm at it, since I mentioned the Legend of Route things earlier, I guess I'll post these, and then if you want to check it in reference to your scans, see if they say something different. Since, unfortunately, arguing for scan differences was something I was worried about, but again, like I've heard that there was a different translation out, but again, like if Viz is translating a new official release, that's kind of why I was like confused on it.
Well, I'm getting to Viz
Well,
has
I
low credibility
kind
for
of
something.
read. I read the V's translation. It's kind of garbage.
Yeah, that's
Like
a,
for it has a different name for Tenryu Kokyo. Like Kenshiro calls it in two different names. Basically says that he has two different techniques that do the same thing, and it's so weird.
Isn't that the
And
like?
no,
I'm just confused. Isn't the Ultimate Edition considered the official like version of the story now?
there
Like,
is
isn't
the ultimate edition that's been already released, which is official, and the V's one, which is also official. But let me show you.
wait, where is this statement? I'm on chapter 100 and I don't even see this.
okay? So right after Kenshiro punches Kaio, and like, so what's there? Can you just post what's on the page right after Kenshiro punches Kaio and the punch does nothing? Can you please post what's on
Oh,
there?
did you not even post the scan? Is that why?
Yeah, I did. It's right there. Like I posted it right above the second one.
You must have the wrong.
I'm
Two
okay.
or
So
185, right? And I'm looking through
yes.
185.
Let me I'll post the this translation and the comparison
Okay,
to the.
so Kenshiro gets up after being hit. Like, Kenshiro gets up after, losing with Muso Tensei, where he's like, oh, you're still going to fight me even though Muso Tensei lost?
Okay, so this has to be 184 then. Not 185
Well, wait,
for me.
well, again, like, so, well, then hang on. If 184, well, again, Pitiful Juki is the one where I'm seeing it from.
What? Okay, so now Kaio body slams Kenshiro. Kenshiro uses Muso Tensei, and he says, "As I expected, Kenshiro, you've realized." Is this the same thing? No, it's
Okay, hang
not.
on, hang on, hang on. Let me screen share real quickly, so that way, like, you can see the panel. So right here, can you join my screen share real quickly?
Yeah. What? Okay. I'm gonna laugh if it's not even in the Ultimate Edition, but we can just go.
Okay, so so right here, I'm assuming you're already watching it. Kenshiro gets up after being beaten, goes like this, and proceeds to punch Kaio, and then we get the line. Are you saying this is not in your version at all?
I can wait.
Like
Okay,
this
so
panel where he goes in for the punch.
so here's the punch. I found the punch, but where is this? Okay,
It's right,
I'll just screen
it's right
share.
next page.
I'll just screen share. We'll go. Actually,
Um,
wait. Am I looking for the wrong scan? Oh, okay, that's why. I'm looking for the bottom scan you sent, not the top one. That's my bad. Okay.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say.
Okay, so yeah, I can just post it. It's page 218. Okay.
The bottom scan is during the Kaio fight, like the final one.
Okay, I'll look for that here in a bit. Um, there's this, but
Oh, are you posting his scans? Yes, Don, when it comes to moving fighting spirit, Hulk doesn't handle cold of Hulk Ryukin. My demonic fighting spirit absorbs your power before your fist can even touch me. In reference to mine.
let me get. But what I'm in
Yeah.
question though is the I post this in scan. Not a big deal, but the bottom scan is what I'm looking for.
Okay, so let me try and help you out there a little bit.
What chapter is that?
Here, let me see if I wrote it down in my notes.
I don't even remember what I'm arguing for any of this anymore, but I guess.
So currently, if I remember correctly, because I'm trying to prove that the reason Kaio beat Kinshiro is not because of like a stronger difference. It's because more of a technique situation. Hang on.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Okay, so
Which
it's after Die with Glory.
after. So it's in volume 16. I'm assuming Die in Glory.
Oh.
So
Okay, yeah, it might be in the
it's
chapter Die with Glory.
205.
Here, let me.
Chapter 205.
It might be in the same chapter. No, it would not be in the same chapter. So I scroll up a little bit. Here, let me. It's not 206 either. It's not 207. It's not 208. Or here, is it 208?
Oh, I found it.
It is 208. Yes, it is chapter 208. Page
Wait.
16, according to my thing.
Okay. And the secret that Kart had passed on was nothing. And that is the reason for it. They warned 2,000 years ago. Hokunaru can use demonic fighting spirit to bewitch the opponent, so-called disrupting the opponent's defenses, but Okunoshinken is a fence on the battlefield that creates and develops ever-changing environment of the battlefield.
Yeah, so...
Wait, how does that prove anything?
So the reason Kinshiro loses the first fight is not due to a strength stomp. It's because Kaio's demon aura
well, here's this.
Fucks with not only his Toki and absorbs his actual.
I'll show you this. So let's go to that fight. Wait, no, this is the battle. Actually, no, I think it's in this chapter, in this volume.
We
just see him just pound on him, but we'll look.
Well, yeah, but So as the scan I provided, it's just so the demon aura is constantly active within him. The armor constantly is just keeping the demon aura back at bay. Whenever Kaio is fighting, he's using the demon aura. So the passive abilities of Hokuto Ryukin are always active when Kaio's fighting. And technically Hyo had this situation as well, but
Yeah,
Kenshiro confirms
but-
he beat Hokuto Ryukin when he fought Hyo.
213. We'll post this. Yeah, but what I'm arguing here for is that he's just getting beat down. Like no, even if we just say that like, oh, you know, the whole thing's passive or whatever, it's just he's still like getting beaten up and he can't do anything. Like,
Yeah, he's getting beaten up because he can't use his Toki. He can't use the energy system in the series. This is essentially
is he can later on though, right? Like we see because he can overpower it. Like if you're to make this stance, you would have to say that like no matter how strong Kenshiro gets, it's just you know Kaio can always you know absorb or take away his Toki, which is
no
true
because Kenshiro beats it. No, so the thing is that
that's what I'm saying.
You can learn how to deal with. No. You don't have to be strong enough. You can learn how you can figure out the fighting style and learn how to counter it that way.
When unconscious, he can still do that. Like you know, in the sewer tunnel thing.
Yes, so that's not Kenshiro. That is the war god, and we learn from dealing with when Kaio. That's not his technique. So we learn during when
technique, I should say.
Well, first off, he doesn't utilize it at all. Like it just subconsciously happens. To be fair, like on that one.
Okay,
but
sure.
Okay, but so I noticed in your video you did say he overpowered it, but he doesn't. Oh, the war god doesn't even overpower the demon aura. What it does is it collapses Kaio's armor, which starts suffocating him with his own power.
The better term for it is it just suppresses it, which means it's above the fact of it, right? If you're able to suppress something, that means you're able. Like that means your power triumphs. Right,
like, but it can't suppress the aura on its own. So what happens is here. Let me see if I can't provide the scans. I should have these. So what happens is yes. So he does the aura closes the armor on Kaio, which causes him to start suffocating at first. Like it starts fucking him up. That is fair. Hang on, let me see where if I can.
All right, hold on. This is a bit of a.
Here we go.
This is a bit of a null or a general question, but what was the original point of the argument? That's what I need to know.
The original point here is that Kaio beating Kenshiro is not a strength issue; it's a technique issue.
What's the purpose of defending this? Though? That's what I want to know.
Well, this is going to set up.
What was the point behind that?
This is to show that Kaio's not massively stronger than Kenshiro. There's not a massive power amp at play here. It's techniques involved that disrupt their technique.
Above Raoul by a bit. Okay, that's what it was for. Okay.
So going forward as well. So that's the armor being closed in on itself.
Yeah. So the thing is, though, is again, it's still.
Then
like,
we get
he can still
this
suppress
line
his power even with it. That's my point.
No. So what happens is that Kaio's evil key gets scared. Like Kaio himself, right there, and you can check your scans as well. What he says.
What chapter?
Yeah. So no, it's not. No, it's not scared of its power because when he encounters the. Let me check the chapter.
Somewhere in volume 15, I assume, but
let me see. I think it might be 182. I could be wrong on that one. No, it's not 182.
I honestly don't even know I'm arguing this, but I should argue from a different point, but it's not a big deal, I guess. But
I mean, I was gonna bring up that like the North Star, God, also just by default can just reject Kaio, and it directly fucks with him. Well, no, 182 is wrong. That is too early. I think it might be Wild Eye Demon Man.
Wild Eye Demon.
Yeah, it is Wild Eye Demon Man.
Okay, Wild Eye Demon Man.
Yeah, my armor that keeps my key from escaping is shrinking. My brain is being blocked. And then Kaio breaks his armor, which allows the energy to burst out of him. So the evil key isn't being... Here.
Wild Eye Demon? That's not a chapter for me.
Then try chapter 187. What was 187 called for you?
It is called... So it's in volume... The Phantom Demon.
Okay.
So it's towards the end. All right, let me find.
Yeah,
this.
the blood of original Hokuto like scares the demon aura, but we also know that the Hokuto goddess, which would originate and support the original, Hokuto bloodline, rejects Kaio, and when it does, it also does this to him. It messes with him completely and weakens him, and this happens multiple times.
So what does your scan say?
You can take a look. Scroll upwards. Sorry.
Your scan is just is escaping. Oh, okay. That's not what this one says. It just says it's just shrinking. That's all. It doesn't say it's like escaping or anything like that.
Do I need to provide the earlier context of Juki stating that the armor is designed to keep Kyle's demonic aura in check?
I swear, I just need like chapter numbers for every of these scans so I can just like.
Well, so
this.
again, like, is it not 187 for you?
No. Like, just because this part, it's just getting old to this process because you just keep posting new scans and I don't know the chapters for each, so. That's just the only thing. It's just so like, what's the next one for this scan? That's just what I need to know. And then I have to keep going through all of these, so that way I can get a better picture of what's occurring, I guess.
Okay, so are you referring to the Hokuto Goddess one?
Are
you still referring
to just in the same chapter, so I can just look through this chapter.
Because I would say the Hokuto Goddess chapters, at least for me, start at 198, and that is where the veins black thing occurs. If you want to provide the context there.
This is volume 14.
Yeah.
This is at the end.
Oh, that's right, because the Ultimate Edition has different volume numbers too, because, yeah, Manga Dex uses the original volume releases, because I was going to say, for me, it's volume 25 or some shit. So yeah, 198 should be the chapter with the goddess scans. Right. And
well, no, I'm not even looking for. I'm looking for like literally the order you posted your scans in, so I can. This is a very annoying process, but
I guess our chapters don't line up. That is, I was unaware again that there was like I heard about a separate edition, but no one ever linked it to me.
My thing is with Viz, and I guess you haven't encountered too much of an issue yet. Okay, I found it. Is that Viz is notoriously bad for translations, especially when it comes to big shonen series. But even though it doesn't release that many signing series, but
well, I was gonna say, aren't the Viz releases considered the official release? Like anyway, like aren't they the like official release for translations? Aren't they considered the official one?
Newer release, like some use it, but like if you're like the original. Manga is old and they don't use that anymore because of it, because it's just it gets outdated and authors want to reword some things to make things more consistent, or they feel like it just tells a better story or it has better statements, blah blah blah. But that's why the Ultimate Edition, the one I have, is. But I found it, but where did I get it from? Oh wait, it's later on. That's where it was.
Also, for the just like while we were looking for that one regarding the Legend of Rao statement, or point we were discussing earlier, I was also going to use Juki statements on that as well.
Which, can you wait on that? Just because.
Yeah, I was going to say, because unfortunately that might cause more issues, because even I wouldn't have trouble looking for Juki statements a little bit. I really should have labeled the chapters here.
I don't even remember what you're arguing with any of these. This is, I hate that.
Okay, wait. You're using the wait. Can you use the first scan right before that point? Where for his armor he just says.
I could have swore I posted that.
You posted Kenshiro being shot in the face by Kaio.
Where is the one I had posted? Oh, that is odd. Okay. The one right before it, you said. And
also, you're gonna have to post the Sachi scan as well afterwards.
260. It's not 260. There you go. There's that. What did you post after this? You posted this. Sachi
the armor that contains my demonic fighting spirit is shrinking. Yeah.
Yeah. I swear I posted that earlier, but.
And I guess you'd also have to get.
Oh, is this it?
I believe. You also get when he blasts him as well.
270. 270.
Or not when he blasts him, right before he blasts him. Here we go.
Okay.
Anger and sense, this function in essence was scared off the demonic fighting aura.
That's later. What is this? Different. This is post the fight. Where is this scan? My breathing is being blocked. This is later. Well, this is a ton of fun.
Yeah, I am.
It. Once 263. There you go. There's that. What is this? Oh,
Yeah,
this
breathe.
is later on. Yes, this is volume 15.
Yeah.
This is.
Yeah. Okay, so honestly, the difference in the
191.
translations is a little minimal. I was actually kind of expecting.
Yeah, not. We've not gotten to a huge issue yet, is what I had said earlier. But I have a feeling there's definitely instances in the manga where it's big. But where's this one? This is just after.
Also, yeah, then after you grab that one, I guess since this was going to be supporting
Well,
evidence as well, it's gonna
actually,
be...
before you do any of that, I need you to explain what these scans are, 'cause I don't, as well as like the judge
Okay.
who judge also
Okay,
needs
so
that as well.
yeah, that's fine. So we're
Well,
looking for that. Okay,
let me grab this scan first, just so,
So-
I have everything, and then you can
Well-
explain it.
all right, that's fine.
Um,
Well, then in that case, since it's going to probably be in the same chapter, can you get Lynn's statement as well of the statue?
you'd have to show me that.
Okay.
Just because like I don't know what this is in.
Well, it's meant to show that it's not a power difference that causes these things to occur. It's something else. Like, again, so regarding these ones right here for the statue and
This
like
is
the
like-
auras as well. The demon aura, I was showing that it's not an AP or it's not a strength difference for why Kaio beats Kenshiro. The demon aura just completely fucks over Kenshiro's fighting style. It fucks over. Honestly, the demon aura shit stomps most people in the verse by itself alone. You could just have the demon aura and you'd probably shit stomp most people. But on top of that, so it completely prevents Kenshiro from fighting at his full strength, and it absorbs Kenshiro's power before the attacks land. And Kenshiro does confirm that it does do this, and it also messes. And according to the more recent translation, it messes with his defense. So that's why Kenshiro is getting fucked up so badly by the attacks. It had nothing to do with the strength difference. It had to do with that Hokuto Ryukin was just, in an initial fight, a better fighting style if you're not prepared for it. And we're bringing up the War God situation here, as shown by Sachi's statements. He's not saying that it was scared off by power. It was scared off by the sadness and anger, which are the essence of Hokuto Ryukin. And according to Lin or Rin, however you want to pronounce her name, depending on the translation, what the statue ultimately preaches for is love. And this is where Kaio as a character context matters here, because Kaio despises love. Well, you know, Souther 2.0 over here, am I right? But yeah, despises love and is completely against it. He's trying to destroy love. He's trying to go against it, and this is just showing that love is superior. That's the whole point. Like it's more of a feeling and essence situation, because Fist of the North Star does put emotions at a very high value. It's not like a strength difference.
No, it's not there.
And also, even if you go with strength difference, Kaio proceeds to literally kill that version of Sachi, which is
found
amped
it.
by that god as well.
201. Okay. All right. So I was looking for this, so I didn't hear a single thing you just said because I was trying to find this, like I had said earlier. Okay. Now let me look through your scans, just because now we have a better.
Oh, well, hang on. Like, but before you do that, just go like I think a chapter forward and go to Lynn's statement to make sure that translation's accurate, because that's also important. That's why I was like kind of hoping you would.
Okay.
Yeah, it's right above it. It's like one chapter forward, just when Sachi fights Kaio.
I think it's this. Let me just make sure. Yeah, it's this. What page is this? 214. Find it. 214.
There we
Okay.
go. Yeah, because he fears love. Yeah, it's a love situation, because emotions in Fist of the North Star, I'm sure you can agree, like, do
Okay, so
affect things.
Okay, now that we have everything on the board, now I can like. Okay, now I can actually just argue now. Now that I don't have to look for stupid scans. You're just saying Okay, so you're saying none of this is based off of power because of emotion and technique. That's what you're
Yes, it's a
arguing?
tech. Yeah, it's technique difference. It's technique situations.
Okay, so this is in reference to what you had showed earlier.
Right?
I don't even remember the relevance of this, but I just remember I'd argued something like earlier where we see Kenshiro get stronger and Kaio can somewhat match it, and so there is a difference
Well,
in that's what I had said earlier.
so if you're referring to post getting the memories of the North Star ancestors, that for sure does confirm Kyle got stronger. Although, at least in my translation, this might be where we get our first
Wait,
issue.
Kenshiro? Or you mean
Well,
Kenshiro or Kaio?
Kaio, because Kenshiro confirms Kaio got stronger. Although, again, take that one as you will, given how
Um,
Kenshiro statements work. But so in my version, and this
sure.
is where like you might want to check this out. In my version, Kaio states, "Let's see how strong you've gotten with the North Star seals being removed."
Yeah,
Does he
he
say something
says
different in your
no.
translation?
He says something similar. He also says like I show it in the video. He also says something like how he wants to see how Kenshiro is with his new power. Well, right before this is like right before he leaves after Sachi's done and
Yes, that
yeah.
that line is there in
So,
mine as well.
it shows that, right, since you've, agreed with this, it shows that, Kenshiro's gotten stronger, Kaio's gotten stronger. There's a difference right there, right? So even, back to I remember the original point is that, we can still go through it and, you have Raoul way at the bottom in comparison to all of it. This isn't even getting into the specifics of, like, the Ashuras, which you can get into and you can make
I
arguments for,
mean,
but
the Ashuras are super. I would say, I think it's fair to say they're super inconsistent in like their ability. Because
uh,
not only do we have to contend that Akasachi was able to make it to the mainland into Kaio's castle
all
without being
that
killed,
all that
we
means is
also have
just
to
he's just on
contend
that
with
level. That's all
we.
that would mean because we don't have a feat that contradicts that.
We do. He's terrified of the island of Azura, and his men were all slaughtered by the nameless Azura spider fight
No, no,
sand
no, no, no.
soldier, as we
So
call him in the game.
all this is okay. So like with his feat, right? The original
Yeah,
feat of him going into Ashura, all that means is just like he was able to to get in and he was able to survive, and that
yeah.
because of that he's just he doesn't want to go back because he knows he'll lose because now he knows of the power, right? And there's nothing that contradicts he's not on that level.
Okay, but what about his crew then? Let's say Akasachi is on that level. What about his crew?
You
Because
could
keep
just
in
say
mind that
his
his crew
crew's on
already.
that level because we don't. There, what contradicts his crew being on that level? Or are we just supposed to be like, oh well, they're normal humans? Because like, so is Kenshiro. He's also a human.
Oh,
He's just amped by like fighting stuff, right? Like it
okay,
doesn't.
so hang on. Akasachi, who was too terrified to ever go back to that land until Kenshiro shows up, and is still terrified of the Azuras. You
Hmm.
don't think it's a little weird that he made it to the mainland Kaio's territory without and losing anybody? Because they all just end
No,
up dying to Kaio.
no.
Okay,
Because
what
all
about
all
the
this
what about the
is
North Star
just
Army?
no. I don't see like no. All
So
this
then
is
you're telling me that the North Star Army and Akasachi scale above like Falco, for example?
yes.
Oh, okay. Just clarifying that point there.
Yes. So yeah, not a, there's no contradiction there. And so I don't really see like, the Ashras, they get, overpowered where, they can, beat around, Black Yakusho who was still at full power since, he was saved by Kensho. He never really was
He
dealt
he lost it.
damage.
He lost his arm. Did you forget that point?
Where? No,
Uh,
I should
uh
say like okay, I should say that like he was
he's
close to
bleeding out. He
where?
no, he lost his arm and he's bleeding out. He
Against
loses it to
Hyo?
Hio. Remember? Yeah, remember he loses his arm because Hio throws up the spider nets. Here, let me see if I can't pull that up.
Is
Uh,
this an anime
so
thing?
no, it's in the manga. Hang on.
I'm
I
guessing
think
it's
it's the Ryukin.
volume 15, but I'll look. So this is when he comes back.
Oh, here we go.
He gets stabbed.
Here's the image in question where he loses his arm. And
Oh, this.
just for further context as well,
Okay.
here he is.
So, okay, let me ask you, what supports him being like, a ton weaker, if that's what you're arguing here then.
Fisto and Northstar treats losing limbs consistently as a massive blow to a character's fighting style,
Yeah.
and also
So how much would that be
because
though? That's what because we've kind of already
well,
set a
we can't
definition.
quantify any like power increases or losses. To be fair,
Well,
I think you can agree on
that's
that
what I
one.
asked you at the beginning. It's like do
Well,
you
you
accept this
said
definition? And you were like,
well,
yes. And it's like, I think that's
well,
fine.
so your Zenkai boost, like first off, I didn't accept your Zenkai boost applying to the series. I'm not sure if that was like
Uh,
misconstrued, unless
okay.
like maybe
Let
I
me
said
do
I
this. Let me
didn't.
do this. Someone from
Okay.
chat did at the beginning, did he or did he not accept it? If you guys remember. If you guys don't. Actually, I guess it would only just be Necros because both are fresh and chain or
Oh, and Necros just bailed.
well, that's great.
If I remember correctly, you were bringing up the points about like characters can get 2 to 10 times stronger, and his reply to that was yes, they can get stronger. He agreed that they can get stronger, but he didn't like emphasize with you the 2 to 10 times, like any specific number.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
The numbers
that's fine.
I was using in reference, like I thought that was
Okay,
still in
so-
reference to Dragon Ball, so that would be me misunderstanding there.
Okay. This second debate's a rough one, but it's whatever. I feel like I'm all over the place with it, but that's whatever. All right,
Yeah,
so
sorry about that. I should have
No,
put
it's
chapter
fine.
numbers for my scans.
Okay, so I guess what I should ask though is, all right, so we just know he gets weaker. We don't know like to the degree. We could just say he's weaker than in his base, right? Since everything else is just an assumption based off of what we just talked about with the 2 through 10 times. So, based off this, right, the Ostras are still able to combat. I don't even remember the point of arguing for the Ostras. My point still kind of stay the original point. So, I guess I could just like I don't really need to talk
I mean,
about the Ostras, but
okay, that's fine. Because I was gonna say what I was pointing about the Ashras is that like if you're arguing the Ashras are impressive, the North Star Army is full of normal people who just want to like end the times.
Mhm.
And Bat himself is also not that strong of a fighter in his own right. He also gets dealt with normal mooks quite consistently and can be beat by numbers pretty easily. The Ozras can't, as we've seen with the Nameless Ozra at the beginning. He killed like 100 men, according to Akasachi. I don't know if your translation is in like a second.
okay.
So you'd have to argue that
I
the
don't really-
normal. Well, okay, so basically the point I'm making up is like the normal North Star Army, which has no incredible fighters whatsoever, and regular standard people who probably aren't even trained, if we're being honest, given that they couldn't deal with the Celestial Emperor's army all that well, and the Celestial Emperor's army was trash for the most part. Like they would have let's give them basic military training and basic like training with swords and spears and shit. They're not busting out any crazy Toki abilities or anything, which every Ozra we've seen, especially the named ones, does have. They all have crazy martial arts up the wazoo, especially if we take Han the Hourglass or not Han the Hourglass, Alf the
Alf.
Hourglass as an example.
Okay.
To make it into the island, you'd have to go through tons of named Ozra, unless we just assume, which is highly unlikely given the evidence of the island being very against outsiders. They just ignored them, an army running through.
I mean, I'm not really arguing for Ostras, really. I still have my main point, so. Like,
All right, that's fine. I'm just like kind of explaining like where I was coming from with that.
Yeah, like, let me just.
Hang on, I'm trying to see if my scan
I
has
just
statements
wanna
of him being
post-
super weak.
It's 139. I was gonna post a couple things, but. And then. Where is it? It's later.
Also, considering the fact that
51.
like there is no statement of him being, to be fair, weaker, but considering the fact that he scaled above Juki and all the generals of Ozra are way stronger, like
Then
it
who?
would seem kind of weird that.
Wait, then.
Well,
Joker?
then, so all the generals of Ozra were trained by Joki. Like Hokuto Ryukin members in particular are much stronger than the Ozra. They can kill them easily. They could deal with numbers easily. It does not matter to them, especially since even like a weakened Hio can beat them not relatively easily, but he's able to beat them even on the verge of death, basically. Black Yashka was superior to Juke according to like his fighting style because his technique distorts space on a much wider level than Henri Tenha, or he can float through it. So the fact that he can't just deal with the mooks or like the other Asuras would definitely imply he's gotten weaker. And at least on my panel, he is sweating, implying that like he's very like concerned.
If you want to keep arguing for the Ushers, that's fine. I'm not.
Well, I'm just like explaining. All right, that's fine. We can move
on. I've kind of said what all I need. Like I've gotten the scans I referred to earlier, but I don't know. Like
okay, so I see you posted some Fudo scans here. Like, what's the?
I do not know. Ignore the Fudo scan. I guess that was the wrong scan.
Okay, so what's the Rao scan here for exactly?
That's what I had said earlier. Was Rao just he gets beaten by Kenshiro.
Well, okay, so if we're posting scans for the first debate again, can I post the mobile game scan anyways, just to like that way at least later on reference it?
Well, this was in reference to what I had said at the very beginning. Was Rao loses to Kenshiro. I'm not arguing for the first debate at all.
No one contested that though. Like I don't think. Well, I didn't contest that. Certainly, I've read the story.
Okay, so yeah, then yeah, I don't know.
I'm just surprised like why that popped up.
Well, that's only just because the judge has never seen Fistula and North Star, so
all right,
just so that way he has a scan just to look for it. But I've said all I needed for this, even though it was long. I'll explain everything I had said in my conclusion for you, third, or three.
Okay, so then like, I guess since you're kind of already done, I'll just post other scans real quickly to show relevancy still. So right off the bat, at the very beginning, we were discussing the Legend of Rao.
Is this the film?
No. I mean like the savior legend for Rao. So I just want to provide context from a character who would know that the legend was made afterwards and it's not like an actual prophecy. And it's Juki who would be a credible source here. I'm just providing the scans that Juki himself basically is implying, or not implying, he actually outright states that like if Rao had shown up on the island instead of Kenshiro, which is right here, he would never have gotten involved, which means that he wouldn't have needed to help Rao defeat the generals of Asura. And keep in mind that, well, Joke would be aware of the situation more than the other characters. So if other characters believe Legend of Rao, that's fine, but Juki should be well aware of what's going on and should be well aware of like being able to determine people's skills and abilities. He is the Grandmaster of Hokuto Ryukin until, well, we all know, what happens to Juki.
Yeah, his old age gives up, he loses, or he has some bad stamina towards the end of that fight, but
he dies more or less. Like, yeah. And also I'll be providing some more scans.
Is this like are you just explaining like what you're
you mentioned earlier and then like laughed at me about like, well, like the legend, like the savior of Rao thing, and I'm explaining that there are statements from characters like Joki which support that Rao would, and then there's a few more statements as well that Rao would have been able to beat the generals of Asura, and then on top of that,
what is this based off? So if we go off of, like, I'm not questioning what I am questioning what you're saying, but like if we go off of what Juke's saying,
I have some more
never seen Rao fight, so like he's just basing this off of just his thought of Rao. Like,
hang on, I do have some more scans to work with. Don't worry. Like, I have more like perspectives and more characters to work with here.
Well, no matter the character, it's kind of like.
Well, so Juki would be aware of the Divine Fist of North Star and its ability, and considering the fact that we know other people directly have talked to Rao and have met him, since we do get a scan later on from the guys in the gas masks. One of them did go see Rao, and Juki was aware that they were going to rebel as a result. This would mean that he would have knowledge on Rao. No, not Sachi. Again, so here, let me provide that scan real quickly. Let me give you the chapter name as well. Hopefully, it's similar to what your chapter name is called.
Wait, okay, but before we go on to other points, because I feel like that's a problem we've had this round of the debate. Is what is your defense with Juke here?
My defense with Juki is that someone who is well aware of Hokuto Shinken's ability, and also Juki himself states Hokuto Shinken is superior, is convinced that if Rao had shown up on the island, he would not have needed help to defeat the generals of Azra because he was waiting for Rao to show up to clean up his mess.
So the thing is, though, is again he's never seen Raul fight, and he doesn't
Well,
know at this point that Kenshiro has beaten Raul, so he's missing
yes.
a lot of context to this. So it's kind of like his statement is invalid just because he doesn't have any context besides, oh, I think Raul would win when he comes here, and it just seems to be based off this Raul prophecy that again doesn't exist based off of what Kaio had said. So there's not
Again,
really an
so
argument
this
for
is also
Juke.
this is also based off the fact that Juki is under the impression that Hokuto Shinken would beat it on its own, and he would have some degree of knowledge since he does know people who would have talked to Rao later on. So, for example, we have this guy who goes to talk to Rao
I don't even know what
in
this could be,
chapter
but okay.
178.
So
Well,
all
he
this is just hearsay. So it's just like, oh, I think Raul would win. So he just,
okay.
just tells this to Juke, and then Juke is supposed to be like, well, this one guy told me this, so it must be true. Like that. What does that mean? Like it's different if Juke was there and he saw this, but he wasn't there. So
Okay,
it's
so
just
then, so then I'll bring up my next scans then, if that's how we're going with that one. That's fine, by the way. I completely agree that Joki's information is definitely lacking, obviously. So next we have Sachi, who did see Rao in action and did know Rao. So I'm going to be providing a few scans here, but and so Sachi's reaction first off to Rao losing is very clear indication that even with everything he's seen, he still considers Rao stronger, and that would include Han
so
as well.
this is just also again kind of well like this doesn't argue for quite what I was saying. This is arguing a little bit different, but um this is kind of like again all he did was he just saw this when he was a kid and he's just like, oh
Yes,
wow,
but
he
now he
looks
has.
cool, so now he can
Mm,
scale to like again like this doesn't have much
No,
of an accent.
the problem is that Sachi at this point is now and I think it's fair to say master of Hokuto Ryukin. Like I think it's fair to call him master. Or do
Was
you
he a
not think
master
master is fair?
though when he was seeing Raoul fight? No, he
It doesn't
was.
matter because this will mean as a master of, or I'm going to call him master, but if you don't think he's a master, that's fine. It doesn't really matter to my point here. As a master of Hokuto Ryukin, he's witnessed more abilities. He's witnessed more martial arts to recontextualize the scenes he saw with Rao or his memories of Rao. And even again, even by seeing Han in action and seeing Han and Kenshiro go at it, he is still convinced with all of his new knowledge and all of his new understanding that Rao was still way more
So
than at least Han.
this is also just kind of like this falls under what I had said earlier of like, well, for one, it's kind of like when you're like let's just say like 8-year-old me, right? I'm watching this fight and I'm just like totally impressed by these two fighters, and then when I'm older I see a fight and I'm like, wow, when I was a kid those two fighters would have beaten this new dude. But like, there's no basis under that. It's just it's like
No,
when you're
no,
a
no.
kid, you're
That's a little
exaggerated.
that's missing a little bit of information. That's not exactly a 1-to-1. So this would be like let's say you're a kid and you're watching a kung fu tournament and you're seeing two people go at it and you're like, wow, this is incredible. Or you're seeing one guy be like, a badass. Then you decide to become a kung fu master. You learn everything about or you learn about the fighting style. You learn about the world of martial arts you're going into. And then looking back at that guy, you're like, yeah, he's still really badass, even by all the people I've seen today.
So okay, well the thing is okay. So there are a couple of problems with this. Is for one, there's Sachi's viewpoint is slanted again due to the Raoul prophecy that isn't real. So there's that, but as well as
He actually doesn't believe the prophecy, and he actually outright despises and hates it.
the prophecy. Okay, well this could be a
So
translation thing, I
he is
guess,
not
but
okay. So he does not buy into the prophecy the way other people do. In fact, he outright like hates it. That's actually why he
but
became a Hokuto Ryukin user.
my other point is, do we see like on panel or anything like that Sachi like witnessing Hyo battle or Kaio battle or anything like
Well,
that?
so for this particular, well, he does witness Kyle battle, and he does witness Hio's fight as well, because he's there to watch them. But
Well, no, no, no. I'm
this is
saying
mainly
prior
reference.
to any of this,
Oh, prior to any of this,
prior
he
to
is
the
aware
Han
of the
fight.
he is aware of the generals to the point where he knows where they live and everything, and he is trying to replace them. So he would have seen them in action. That being
But
said,
the funny
in
thing is though
fairness to
with
that point, Hio does get stronger because he gains a Motoki aura. Like that's fair game. And on top of that, I doubt Kyle would have needed to show his full strength. But even just in reference to Han, for example, I think it's fair game for Han though. He's well aware of Han's abilities.
also with Kaiser, he seems to be like under the assumption that Han is like once Han's done, everyone else falls, which is, even looking past the later amps, both Kaio and Hyosho, it's just like that's again not really like his
Even if
view
we
is
assume
slanted on all of this. So it's
okay,
like,
so let's assume his view doesn't apply to Kaio, which is fine. He doesn't. Well,
and
he doesn't really talk too much about. Well, okay, so fine. Let's say it's slanted against both of them. It would still mean that he still considers Rao more impressive than what he's seen in the Han and Kenshiro fight, and he has all this new knowledge to contextualize Rao's like actual abilities, which would mean that at bare minimum, Rao would still be stronger than Han.
Okay, and then so then from there, all I would argue is that Muso Tensei would be above that. Ken then, which
Well,
still
yeah,
goes
Muso-
with what I'm saying. So
Well,
it
okay,
still proves
so-
what I'm arguing.
No, because Muso Tensei gets disrupted by techniques, not by
No,
like
I'm saying
strength
Muso
difference.
Tensei would be above Han here. Like the Muso Tensei that fights
Okay,
Rao
okay,
would just
well,
be above
well, hang-
Han.
Well, okay, so hang on. Right off the bat, do you have the statement confirming Muso Tensei is a power amp?
A power amp? Yes.
Yes.
Well, okay, I don't
Okay,
have a
can
statement,
you?
but I have
Yeah,
showings,
because they're
which is
no,
more
no, no, no,
impressive.
no, no. Okay, so what showings do you have that it's a strength amp?
Have you seen him against Rao in their first fight?
Yeah, I want to see why it's considered why would you consider it a strength amp? Like, can you provide the reasoning? Because I did reread the fight.
What is
So if
this?
you want to just provide your reasoning, I can talk about it like that. So
Well, okay. So I guess if you don't, I'll get scans later. I guess it's
well, it's up to you. Like you can just give the
Um,
reasoning now, or you can like grab the scans
I'll
first.
explain it while I'm grabbing scans.
All right, that's fine.
Oh, this is a pain. Can I just open this? Okay, so the basis is that Rao's beating him around at first. Ryaku, who's actually witnessing it, although he says he thinks Ken would lose at first, and then he's like, oh, now he's awakened into a new fighter. He's then concerned for Kenshiro.
That occurs before he gets Muso Tensei,
No.
though.
I hate how this works, but can I open this? Bingo. Wait, no, this is
So yeah. The chapter you're referring
and
to is
then
Torrent of Blood 124, if I'm not mistaken. Well, your chapters are different. This fucking sucks.
I can tell you here in a bit. There's also feats like this. He's also just able to casually grab Ken, and I'll refute the Ryaku thing later, by the way. But he's just able to casually grab Ken, and then after this, Ken is then able to then outpower to the point where Rao himself he thinks he needs Muso Tensei to match him.
I'll power. Hang on. Let me provide the very next scan of that page. This is not a power situation. He literally has the ability
Yeah,
to
he
like
literally
phase
awakens
through Rao's
the ability.
punches.
Yeah,
But so Muso Tensei is the ability to become nothingness itself. Once Kenshiro goes Muso,
Yeah,
you can't touch him.
And so the purpose,
So-
and then he's then able to deal more damage against Rao is what I'm showing. But I'm trying to grab the scan.
Well,
Any
deal more
catches?
damage. Okay, so we don't get we do get so just to be clear here, before that scene occurs where Wild grabs Kenshiro and tosses him aside, we have Kenshiro with one arm
Oh,
already
yes.
block Rao's kick, and then we have with one arm as well block Rao's punch as well. Now, granted, he is shaking a little bit after the punch, but like the point is that they're already comparable
Yeah.
at this point to each other.
I mean, you could say at the very start, like I guess, but like he just starts getting dealt more damage right there, right? Like it's just shown that he's not as powerful, right? Maybe you could say he can keep up with him in terms of speed.
So
but
this is where like so again power situation. So let's clarify here. Kenshiro has just unlocked an ability
there we go.
that makes him untouchable by like 99% of the verse.
Okay. That,
And so what Kenshiro does
And he
is
gets
he
snaked
proceeds
later,
to
but-
move around by again like Kaio's the only person who has the ability. So he uses Nanto Seiken, yes. And that's it actually, because I think the fight ends right afterwards because they don't actually continue much further. Yeah, because like then the explosion occurs, I think, and they get sent on their way.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
okay, but what I'm arguing here though is like he's able to actually like keep up better, like deal hits harder when prior he's more on the defensive, right? He's always just blocking the attacks and he's still getting shaken up. Now he can actually deal damage to Rao, showing an increase
first
in power,
off-
but
Well, no, it's not an increase in power. So right off the bat, the reason he's dealing more first off, the reason he's able to deal with Rao easier is because even if Rao hits him, his body will just fade out. Like he won't take any damage anymore. He can be more aggressive now. That's absolutely true. but his new aggression is not founded on a power increase. It's founded on the ability to literally be able to nag your opponent's
like
entire...
how aggressive he is and why he's aggressive. That's
Okay, so then let's talk about Nanto
what I'm
Seiken.
arguing is that he's just able to to improve in damage and ability.
Well, okay, so do you take the guidance as like source of information to work with?
Depends which one.
Well, how about RAW guidance? Since that's I don't have to scan for this, unfortunately, because I have a big PC and I don't want to get viruses on it. And I didn't think I'd have to like. No, basically in multiple guidance, like RAW guidance, a big example that you can use.
I've never
but in
read
multiple
guidance, so
have you seen the anime at all?
The Legend of Rao? No, I've seen Legend of Toki. I've read the Rai novels. I've read the Garuda novels. Toki novels.
Have you read Ray Gaiden or no? Because I think Ray Gaiden also has a statement as well, and also show. Okay, so the shit. Well, fuck. That's on me a little bit. Well, Rao Gaiden's hard to find. I barely found it recently. Something like this fucking. It's on one of those sites. That's all I'm gonna say. You know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
In the expanded lore of Fist of the North Star, and this statement's multiple guidance, Nanto Seiken can't be blocked. And this actually is shown in the main series as well. I can actually use the main series as an example as well. So the reason Kenshiro is able to cut Rao here, not saying that Kenshiro is not comparable to Rao. He is, even if you don't include this, he would be able to hurt Rao anyways. He already did it once before.
Uh-huh.
But Nanto Seiken basically ignores defense to the point where even people who aren't part of the Nanto 6 in the expanded lore can cut and slice through Rao.
So, okay. And you said there's a statement for this that shows that, like, we can just, pass by characters.
There are statements in the expanded lore that Nanto Seiken can't be blocked. It can only be either dodged or stopped. And this is also shown in the main series as well, as like consistently they don't ever block Nanto Seiken. They either catch it, as in Rei versus Kenshiro, or in the Shin fight, for example. Since we brought up, I think we can both agree that Kenshiro is probably stronger than that version of Shin at that point. I think we can agree on that one.
I mean, yeah, Shin doesn't deal
much
damage.
So when Kenshiro goes 100%. Okay. Shin's hand is still able to pierce through his hand, and his 100% full strength, he's still able to pierce him.
Okay, so okay.
So Nanto Seiken just like
okay. So there's a couple things. This for one, I need to see the scan as well as all this would mean is that and in my opinion as well, I think Shin is still relative. I just think at peaks, Kenshiro is stronger. So
I'd like to
go against what I'm saying. Either.
So, well, again, so I agree they're relative and that he would still be able to hurt him regardless, but so first off, so you're saying Shin is relative to Kenshiro during the fight, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I would say just peak-wise, Kenshiro had the higher peak, of course, at 100% he's stronger. But it's not to the point where, he can't be, dealt damage. It's not like he's an untouchable god, right?
Okay, so in base form, he does get hit, and he already is superior to Shin. I'll provide just some scans of him being way stronger and way faster than Shin at this point. So then, even at 100%, you don't think his full power, he's still comparable?
So even at full power, he wouldn't be comparable. Is that what you said?
No. So Kenshiro at this point is when Shin does this, he's not only in 100%. But he's also completely bloodlusted as well by anger, which does amp the emotional amps of the North Star are weird. So then, right here we have this occur. So the point I'm trying to make here is that even and Shin, so here's Shin's hand, for example, to show that Shin is vastly weaker. Kenshiro just punches clean through Shin's hand like it's nothing.
Wait, where is the original scan you're talking about? Where he just gets pierced or whatever?
So scroll down a little bit where Shin throws right after Kenshiro gets mad, I'm going to kill you. Shin throws his hand out and he's able to pierce Kenshiro's hand. And Kenshiro is able to stop it and then grabs it. But the point is that he's still able to cut him and hurt him. I am sorry about this a little bit because obviously I was kind of hoping you would have.
You block me? No, it's not that.
Oh, okay. So that statement, I'm going to be real.
I don't need it. I don't need it. Oh, okay.
That's in the guidance, and I don't want to go through. I don't want to go through a guidance to find that statement. I do apologize for that. I wasn't expecting
Oh, I'm going to kill you. Okay, so then he raises his fist, and then die Kenshiro, and then he just catches the fist, And honestly,
Yeah,
it
but
seems
notice
like he
how.
just doesn't care though. He's
Well,
just like,
again, like yeah, because he catches the fist and stops the attack, but notice how it still pierces his hand at a like. And again, at this point, Kenshiro is way stronger than Shin is. He just casually like punches his hand like clean through it.
yeah. So it's just kind of like it just doesn't seem like he just cares. So that way he could just
Okay,
punch
but
him.
the fact that Shin can pierce his body at all though is the important part here for
But I'm
Nanto
saying like
Seiken.
he just doesn't care. It just seems like he allowed Shin to hit him.
So we've seen consistently in Fist of the North Star media that if characters are vastly weaker than somebody, and ironically enough, we actually get this with Sachi. This is, hang on, let me provide the scan real quickly because I found this while going through the things, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. It should be right here. When Sachi, for example, gets attacked by like, for example, some Azuras. Because he's so much stronger than them, their fingers break on his body, and this is a consistent thing in the Fist of the North Star media. Like you can see the scan right there where their fingers break.
Yeah.
So that never happens to Nanto Seiken though, because Nanto Seiken's like technique basically bypasses durability.
Whoa, wait. What do the Ashuras have though? Like, do the Ashuras have like their own fighting style that can like it doesn't really. I don't feel like that exactly is a 1-to-1 comparison.
Well, no, it's not supposed to be. Well, okay, so what would they need for it to be a 1-to-1 comparison? Like
If they had their own fighting style, for example,
well,
Ashuras,
all the Ozras are martial artists, especially the named ones.
but they're just
They
kinda
all
like,
followed schools.
okay, they're obscure. Okay, I guess a better example would be like if they
Would
were
you
part
like?
of the main school.
Would you?
Martial
Well,
arts.
okay. Well, so the point I'm trying to provide here is that strength differences in martial arts do occur, and we do see them in the series. And the thing here is that Nanto Seiken never has this issue, and consistently with Nanto Seiken, it's never actually tanked by any fighters. They always prevent the actual attack from landing. Like when Kenshiro's fighting Shu, for example, he kicks Shu in his knee area. He doesn't kick him at his feet because he doesn't want to get cut by it. And in the expanded lore, this is shown as well, where characters who aren't even Nanto 6 level can still cut Rao and can still pierce his body. Rao just stops him from doing it. Again, like I don't have that scan because I was kind of. This is on me. I should have checked if you had Rao Gaiden. Let me see if I can't find it on YouTube real quickly to link it. Again, like I was kind of expecting.
Okay, I guess after this point, I'm ready to conclude because we've been arguing like this thing circles for almost an hour or so.
Let me. Okay, yeah. So I won't be able to find it on YouTube. I think it got taken off, unfortunately. I suppose that's on me. I should have checked if like maybe I would have needed to go that route. But yeah, no. Beyond that, we also see that if you assume there is a strength increase, they would still be comparable since Kenshiro is still hurt by Rao moments later when he does decide to tank an attack as well.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the reason for Rao like being so bested here has nothing to do with the strength increases because Musou Tensei directly counters like 90% of the fighting styles in the series.
Yeah, this brings us back to the original argument. So that's where this is where I want to conclude. So, you cool with that?
Okay. Well, hang on. Okay. Well, I guess before that point, I'll just post whatever scans I feel are still relevant to this discussion real quickly.
Okay. I've said all.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Hang on.
I've posted all I need, so. And I'll mute, so that way you can, after this you can just get into your conclusion.
All right. Where is it? It's a little further down here.
Alright, you guys on YouTube. No, this is just this.
I'm posting my last relevant scans.
Here, I'll turn
Fuck is it? Is it this one?
This second debate was annoying. Okay, like the first debate was a slap, but like the second debate is like I feel like I had to get like super specific with everything. And I think the biggest problem was like I had a regular goal, but with it, he kept wanting to argue like the main tangents. So it's like it's really hard for me to stay on track when we're getting off onto the tangents, and I had to look for all these scans and blah 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 for him. So, but Are you still looking for scans?
Yeah, sorry. There's one more scan I wanted to pull up here.
Okay.
Well, I guess I'll post this one too, since this one might be relevant for my argument as well, real quickly.
Yeah. So.
And this one. All right. So, okay. So then, I guess I'll let you start the concluding statement, since like you did. I think you did first. Did I do it first last time, or did you do it first last time?
Yeah, sure. I can do it first. It
All
doesn't
right.
bother me. Okay, so conclusions for this, I guess, like, although there was many tangents and many side arguments just due to the fact that, the whole guidebook, or not guidebook, the whole different translations, different, how we interpret them, blah, blah, blah. This got off to many irrelevant points. My main point, and I feel like this wasn't covered enough by him, was that, we see, Raoul, lose to Kenshiro, and then Kenshiro gets stronger, right? Even discluding Muso Tensei, he still gets stronger based off the statements from later in the arc, as I talked about with that Kaio gives, he fights Hyo gets stronger, blah blah blah, and so there's just a different level than just Raoul's top tier, and I feel like the other prevalent point to argue, or that was argued, was the Raoul prophecy. I argued against both of his points, and I feel like he didn't make a successful defense. Is that he was saying that Juke has a relevant and reliable statement. No, not really. Sachi also is looking questionable, and he has a very slanted point of view, as I was able to approve. So, yeah, I feel like in this debate I was able to argue for all I need, and yeah.
Okay, so let's start off. I guess we'll start with Legend of Rao's statement. Juki is well aware of sort of like their techniques and Toki and everything. Was convinced that Rao was superior to anything he had seen before, and specifically Han and Kinshiro's fight, which would imply that Rao was still stronger, or at least impressive in regards to the Han. And even throughout the rest of the encounters, he never references anyone being superior to Rao. On top of that, we do have statements from both Kaio in the final fight right here that he is worthless and inferior to his younger brother, and we have statements from Lin, who knows all these characters and is the Celestial Emperor, that Kaio would never been able to beat Rao. On top of that, regarding strength differences, with Muso Tensei, the strength difference there is no strength difference between Rao and Kenshiro. The only reason he's able to manhandle Rao that easily is because he gains an ability that makes him intangible to everything in the verse. And when Kenshiro steps up to Kaio, the only reason Kaio beats him is because not only does the Onrei Tenha directly destroy the nothingness Kenshiro runs away into, that scan was not provided, but that is what occurs. The Demon Aura also fucks with Kenshiro's passive techniques and Toki manipulation, and apparently his defense is according to the official, or the more recent translation, which would mean that Kaio beating Kenshiro is not evidence of a strength difference in the slightest. And again, the actual statement here of Kaio saying he's worthless in comparison to his younger brothers, which would include Rao and Toki, is after Kaio got stronger. And on top of that, regarding Hyo gets manhandled by Kenshiro throughout most of their fight until he switches his fighting style to one Kenshiro has never seen before, because Kenshiro figures out Hokuto Ryuken's techniques and abilities and can counter the fighting style and read it perfectly. It's not a strength difference for why Kenshiro manhandles Hyo, it's because of technique. And yeah, I guess that's about it.
Okay, that was a lot. All right. So on the point about the Legend of Raoul, I have to give that to Voro, because whatever characters were presented, they would also still be influenced by that legend to like some degree, and you as well admitted that the character who saw Kenshiro versus How, I think I can't remember the name, he would also only known Rao's abilities up to a certain point, and as well be influenced by seeing he would idolize him because of his young age. So there's that as well. So that point I would give to Voro. In terms of let's see in terms of the techniques, let's see, in the fight against the guy who was using um
Yeah, I can clarify
the demon energy.
which characters, by the way,
Yeah,
since yeah.
yeah, that's it was a lot. Um,
Just show
the
me the
guy who was
scan
using
and I can
the
tell you.
yeah, sure.
And then I'll go back to mute till you need me again.
Yeah.
Okay. This is Kaio.
Oh, that's
yeah,
Kaio.
yes.
All right. In terms of that, I think Zimatorn was able to prove that it was more so technique based, and you didn't, and Faro didn't really establish that. Well, Faro didn't really counter it being like, to say that to treat. Faro didn't really counter it to show that it's really a power based thing. While Zimatorn provided a preponderance of evidence of it being a technique based. Let's see. In terms of when you were talking about, let's see, the last fight they were talking about with Kenshiro and Rao, where Zimatorn stated that it wasn't because of a strength difference. I'll give that one to him as well, since he also established that it was heavily because of the technique that he was able to be more aggressive and able to land more hits hits on Raul, as well as the fact that he showed that Kenshiro wasn't being heavily beat down by him before. All right. Let's see. Did I miss any points that you brought up? It was a lot in the conclusion.
There was my scaling, but that was it. It was just I gave a successful scaling chain that he never was able to contest, but that was
Remind me of it.
it was Ken beats Raul, then it goes to we argued this for a bit, but even if you say Han is relative or weaker, it's not really relevant to your. Then it goes Raul again, or not Raul, Ken again, then Kaio, and then back to Ken. So that was
why I pointed out the last 3 scans. Those are in reference to Rao being superior to Kaio and such. That's kind of what I was playing about that. But all right.
Which I may disprove of the statements earlier in the debate, but I'm not here to debate whether any of that, right? It's post debate, so yeah, you can judge that if you want.
And wait, remember the scaling chain one more time?
So I had argued, Ken beats Raul, and then it goes, Kaio, or no, sorry, then it goes Ken again, and then Raul, and then or Kaio. I keep getting it backwards, and then Ken again after Raul, so or after Kaio. I'll write it out for you. There we go.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, so this is post the debate. This is post the recordings, all that stuff. So I just kind of wanted to just give a little bit of thoughts on the debate. Also explain what has happened with the recording. So for some reason my OBS was set to restart after every hour. So because of that, or it also just got at random intervals too. So it's 15 minutes for a certain clip, hour at another, blah blah blah. And so I have it at the first, pretty much the first, and almost all of the second debate is recorded, including the judgment as well. The only part that isn't is just the the initial part of that first debate isn't recorded, just because in my head I forgot to hit record. I had OBS out and didn't hit record, so yeah, it's unfortunate. And then so after that was the big recording, and then I guess OBS decided to turn off after the second judgment, and so I don't know, like, it's really annoying, but it hit its peak again, and so it didn't want to continue. So now what's happened is, during the judgment, and I'll explain it just so that way you guys have it. I know Zimatorn isn't uploading it. I think I don't want to, like, assume his case, but I think it's because he wants to, have people say he won, if I'm being honest. So the first, well, actually, I'll talk about the judgment first, then I'll talk about the debates. So, the judgment of the second debate, it went something like this, I won the first point, and then I won another point. Like, the first point was about, the Raoul prophecy. I disproved everything he had for that, just because, none of it's true. And then, for the second, I don't remember what I won for the second argument. I just know I was awarded it, so whatever that means. No one went into specifics, neither Zimatorn or, fourth, so that's good. I guess, well, I mean, really, I don't know if that's good or not, but, it's just something. And then he won the point of, like, styles and techniques, like, this style is made to counteract. Like, he won that point, and he also won the point of something else. I don't recall it off the top of my head. He just won something. And so, right, so it was 2-2 according to the judge. And so he was like, is there anything I missed? And I said, well, you missed the scaling chain. So the scaling chain was basically, it was like, Raoul, he loses to Ken. Ken gets stronger. I supplied that. And in this debate, I was pretty, like, loose with what I counted as stronger. I didn't count the arrow stuff for this. We'll talk all about that when I debunk his reaction, which we'll talk about that later. But, and then there's some other stuff as well that I didn't decide to include. So it went like that, and then I said, even at the best interpretation for you, you can say, Han is relative, which doesn't really, really debunk anything that I have. And then after that, you have, Kaio is above that in base. He whips out the demon form, and then, Kenshiro gets stronger than that, blah, blah, blah. And so you have all of this, and, the judge is like, yeah, and I see that, he never really refuted it, and I'm like, yeah. And so he then proceeds to, he had 3 scans, which, the 3 scans that he posted at the end is, I don't even think that is allowed for you to do that once people have wanted to go into conclusions, because that's just additional thing. And I kind of realized that after the debate, so of course this can't be held against him now because it's post the debate. But if I were to do it over again, I would tell him he wasn't allowed to do that and stuff like that. But so he does that. However, in the debate, I do debunk a bunch of statements about why Raoul is, overhyped, and, why none of these statements should be taken seriously, and, blah, blah, blah. And so from there, the judge is like, okay, well, that means I win. I have 3 points over his 2 points, so I win. And in here, I cut this out just because this was during this weird intermission. He also admits he did lose the first debate pretty badly, and he thinks I did win the second debate. I also did drop on him that, I didn't play all my cards towards the end. This is, this is post the judgment and all this stuff when he wanted to talk a little bit. And, yeah, so there was just, that's pretty much just the rundown of the debate and all that. So now let's just talk, or at least I should say the judgment in the last bit. That's the better way. So now let's talk about, the debate. So the first debate, since this wasn't recorded on my part, I believe he recorded it. Is that, what I argued was I gave him 2 simple questions. I gave him, here's the analogy of what a feat is. Do you agree that this is a fact? Here's the analogy of a statement. Do you agree that this can be faulty? He agrees, and based off of this, and it also took him a bit to agree too. I should mention this. It took him a bit, and now he tries like holding that. Oh, he was defending the point really well, and he's like trying to hold his position later on, and you'll see this in my recording as well. But the problem here is that he just kept wanting to add extra like stipulations to it when I'm just trying to get to the bare bone of it, right? Because I'm trying to get to the base, and the base proves what I'm saying. And so what he had argued is just, I don't know, it doesn't match at all. It doesn't matter. No matter what he conceded, I made his word go against his word. So, victory in that first debate. And then we go on to the second debate. Now, in the second debate, I sort of lose track of what we're actually arguing. So in my mind, I'm thinking, we're arguing the strength of Raul. But that was actually the first debate. I don't know why we all went on this idea that we're actually arguing this again when we've already disproven the strength of Raul. So it should have been why characters got stronger in the series, which he actually agreed with, that characters do get stronger. So in his video, he is wrong there, as he admitted here. So there's that. And then we then kind of get into, similar territory as somewhat, I should say, as was here. He argues, the Raul prophecy. I debunk every point in that because he doesn't really... He grandstands a lot, like the Sachi statement. The Sachi statement doesn't work just because Sachi has only seen, not even Raul at his best. So it's kind of like a little questionable there. Kenshiro outscales that. Then we get to Han, and then he's just like, oh yeah, I think, that this means that, Raul, not even at his best. Granted, we don't know when this takes place, but he's not using Muso Tensei, and the shortcomings, or in the short time lapse between, the fight with Fudo and the final battle isn't, some huge time period. So it's likely this was just base Raul. And so, it's just, he didn't really get far with that. I do feel like he had an interesting stance, and it was kind of annoying to play around, because his stance was just that, styles interact differently with each other, which is true, and he tries, holding that each technique is, can just slap the other technique and has nothing to do with power, and which I was starting to understand, okay, here's the problems with it, but then he would want to go on a side tangent, and the funniest thing is, and this is something that, me and someone else had talked about at the end, after he had left the call and all this, is that, he asked that we don't do shotguns, and yet he would shotgun me in that second debate. So it's just ironic, but it's whatever. And so right, so it was just it was really annoying because the whole scan and translation situation was annoying. That ultimately proved nothing. A lot of the arguments we argued for proved nothing, and it was just virtue because he just wanted to hold just these statements to a higher regard than others, and it just caught him in an inconsistency. And so just because of this, right, I won just off of scaling, because scaling triumphs over any statement. And so that's pretty much the debate. I'll probably from here, I'll either make a solo reaction, or Sol and I will make a reaction just debunking his video, because I don't want people over on his channel to be like, oh, Voro lost, and and he has his video debunked, right? No, I won both debates. The judge said so, especially the first one. The second one was only bad just because it was long and he wanted to make side tangents and shotgun points. But right, and then I'll make the video and I'll debunk all the points, because in that video he often just wanted to oh, well, here's this one scan, and then he ignores all the other scans that just kind of prove it, and then he would say, oh, well, there's these scans that you never mentioned that just prove something else. But it's it's just that Raul thing. But I kind of I'll make a video on this in the future, but the Raul argument is just bad. All of the Raul arguments are bad, and here I kind of let a lot of things slide, and I wasn't as harsh on what we considered stronger, just because that way it's easier for me to argue, but less points to make as well. But in the video I won't be as loose with it, and I'll be a little bit more strict on what I consider to be stronger and blah blah blah. So right, if I were to, like, judge how I did on the debate, the first debate was easy, slapped him. Second debate, I came in with a similar energy, but we got off topic so many times and we got into tangents that I feel like it distracted me, and it distracted me of what we were originally arguing, because we shouldn't have been arguing how strong Raul is again the second time. We should have been arguing about who gets stronger, and the nice thing is he admitted it again, so proves his video a little bit inaccurate. It actually proves a lot. So his two biggest points were wrong, so that does prove his reaction was inaccurate. And then and then so if I were to judge it, like how I was saying, I would say did really good in the first debate, as I said earlier. Second debate, held the better stance, but I feel like I let his stance of, here's how the techniques are slide too much, and I should have used some of the statements that I completely forgot about that I had. And I showed this to him post recording, and I showed him some other stuff. And so, yeah, it's I could have played my cards a little bit better on that one, but yeah, I don't think it was some it was a heated, close debate. Like, it really wasn't. When I look back on this, I'm just like, man, I could have finished this sooner, and I shouldn't have let him just go on these tangents, really. If I had to kind of like scale him, I would say he's honestly around Crazy Man's tier, just because Crazy Man could, like, honestly, they're both just really similar. They both just argue just the dumbest of things besides the main purpose of the argument. Right? And, like, Crazy Man did this with the arrows. I literally, like, imagine his argument as a sandwich. I ate his whole argument, and what he wanted to do is he wanted to focus a specific part of my argument. In comparison, you have, Zimatorn, who he also, he wanted to argue these side points first, get to the juicy stuff later as well. So, I honestly find them just similar tier. I know, everyone else who was kind of watching, they thought he was really bad. I honestly just think he's kind of like, I don't want to be like too mean, because he seems alright, although the information that some people have given me about him is just, he doesn't seem like the greatest, right? But I guess between our interactions, he seems okay. But yeah, I don't think he's like, some god, and I think he's kind of more like a knowledge Andy who just knows more about the series, and he often had to fall back on points and stuff like that too, so but yeah, I think that's pretty much everything for the debate and me just talking about it. I'll make his debunk hopefully with Soul. He's really busy right now. We'll see what happens with it, but yeah, anyways, catch you all later.